here from Learning and Lore. If you're new here, welcome. In this week's video, I'm going to be walking you through a then and now video of our homeschool room and giving you a tour. I actually found a really old video of when we first started homeschooling back in 2014, so you can go ahead and check out what our homeschool room looked like right up here. And this week, I'm going to be showing you what our homeschool room looks like this year of 2019. And we've been homeschooling for about 5 years, and I am so excited to show you what it looks like now, how it's metamorphosized, what different areas and nooks and crannies we have in our homeschool room. And I hope that you enjoy it if you're just starting out homeschooling and thinking about transforming a space into a homeschool room. My daughter also found some really old photos of our homeschool room before it was a homeschool room, when it was a playroom, and you can go ahead and check out those photos over on Instagram at Learning and Lore. So let's get started. So our homeschool room is right off of our garage. We actually have a sensory play area in that area. So I might be doing a video of that in the coming weeks or months. So stay tuned for that. And we have this little chalkboard sign that says learning on it. We've experimented with different names to name this schoolroom, and we've settled on learning because we really feel like this word imbues what this room is about. So like I said, this used to be a playroom that we turned into a homeschool room, and we purchased some supplies and things, and we repurposed some things to make it a homeschool room. So let me just give you a pan of the entire space. And we have wonderful light in here. We hardly ever use these two floating lamps right up here because throughout the day we just have so much. Then right over here we actually have a lot, what used to be Elias's area for second grade, but this year it's become the computer area. And now if you've been following me on Instagram, you saw that we actually had a space upstairs, and we've since done away with that, and we decided to bring it down here. That way when I'm working with on individual things like reading or math, they can go ahead and do their computer lessons. So right over here I have their passwords laminated, and they can flip this over and see what those are. And then I have this little nature-inspired print. We love the outdoors. We love going out into nature and learning about all things outdoors and just observing. And we are Charlotte Mason inspired. This is our Dell computer. It's a gaming computer that we actually decided to go with because it has more memory and it just has more of the specs that we were looking for. And then over here we have a little dry erase checklist. We have two little hooks that I'm planning to hang up earphones from. Over here I have a little makeshift DIY growth chart, and it shows the kids' ages and how much they've grown. This is their height when they first started homeschooling, and now Elias is all the way up here, and then Mia was over here, and now she is right here. So it's been really cool to track that progress, and we usually do that at the beginning of the year. Then over here on the door, we used to have some maps over here that we've since removed. I have these hooks that came from IKEA, and I have these little lanyards, this little waterproof case that we use whenever we go to the pool. So I have that there, and then I have this All About Reading tote that I use whenever I'm taking supplies upstairs or reading or curriculum things upstairs to do things upstairs, because we do homeschool all around the house, not just in this room, or if we're taking things out to the park to maybe read a book or do certain things in a coffee shop and whatnot. So that's what I use that for. Then over here, right behind the door, I have a little drawing station, and they do hang up their art pieces here or hang up things that they've painted to dry. Then here, this has actually been around since the beginning, and this is a little solar system setup, and I don't remember where I got these printables from, but if I do find the link, I will link it in the bottom. And then this year we're learning about the solar system, and we've added some things. We actually used pencil to just draw them in, like Ceres, and then we have Eris over here and the Cooper belt. So it doesn't have to be picture perfect. So I just wanted to mention that because you can actually use what you have. Here I made this sun out of construction paper. I laminated it, and I believe these were free printables that I found online. And now over here, these are the two bookcases that we have in the homeschool room. This bookcase over here is actually last year's curriculum, which was 2nd grade that Mia went through. And I haven't actually put this away. I usually put away the old curriculum in bins or I resell it, but I haven't done that. So I just kind of left it there because I'm like, you know what? We're going to be circling back to it after medieval times. So, let me just leave it there because we're going to be doing the United States history right after. So I do plan on doing a review of my Father's World 2nd grade, which is the curriculum that we used, and posting these books and supplies in our eBay shop. So here I have a little bin where I have some keepsake binders, and I got these at, I want to say, the Land of Nod. And what I do is I put their pictures every year and a little snippet, and each child has one. And then I also have a graduation binder. I call it the graduation binder, but it's just every year at the beginning of the year they fill out these little interview forms. Okay, and then up here I just have some supplies. I have puzzles, things from 2nd grade. I have this double helix that we did back when we were doing Sassafras Science. Here I have all the books from my Father's World, and here these are actually placemats. This is a world map that we often use and draw from. This is a United States map that we also reference all the time. So I have these here handy, and we are using those this year. Then over here I have more supplies, and these are all by state. These are activity books by state. Then over here in this corner I have an empty binder, and I highly recommend having at least 1 or 2 always on hand. Here I have a telescope. Over here I have a bin, a drop-off bin for art. And then every few months I just kind of go through it. I take pictures of it, and I use an app called Archive that I'll link at the bottom. And then once I take a picture of it and I archive it, then I laminate it and I put it in a binder. Here I have a file folder with some art books. These are dry erase art books. Okay, some sketchbooks. We have some other I Can Draw art books. This is a fashion one that my daughter picked up that she really liked. Here's a doodle and draw book. Here we have some blank canvases that they love to use. Here's a little art piece that my daughter made. And we have this, this wall is for the most part very blank. I have a clip that I got from the Land of Nod up here, and I hang posters as I need them from there. And then I'm also encouraging them to place their artwork, any canvas artwork, up on the wall. That way it kind of decorates it and makes this room their own. Then over here we have our art cart. And this used to be in our little crawl space closet that I'm going to show you at the end of the video. We have paper bags, these little package bubbles, blank books, wooden dowels, some prints and things that I find at the 99-cent store that we've used in other units, some wooden sticks, glue, googly eyes, big buttons, vintage buttons from I think a thrift store, some pattern making things, a puzzle. We've got glitter, chalk, bubbles, Play-Doh making things, some foam, little puff balls. I'm not even sure what this is. Over here we have stickers. And then in these bins I have stamps, which I used back in 1st grade for word making, but now they've kind of just used them just to play around. And then over here I have clothespins, which are fun to make little characters from, or little crafts. Over here I have beads. Here I have Duodots. And these are things that I've just accrued throughout the years. I didn't just go to one store and just pick them all up. We've just kind of picked them up. And these are sensory bins that we use for either water beads. Yeah, we have some water beads back here. So for water beads, we have some chalk pastels. We have some drawing pencils. Here we have a ton of paint. And then here we have some more paint, printmaking kind of things. We have markers in the back. We have, what is this called? Acrylic paint. And then I have a big, huge bin of crayons. And I highly recommend just keeping the crayons in a bin and not buying crayons every single year. A lot of these supplies are from when we first started homeschooling, and we still have them. So we save a ton of money compared to other schooling types like public or private, because we just keep everything. So here we have some colored pencils, some paper, some mural paper from IKEA. And then this is actually our electrical box, and I used a cork board to cover it up, and we display some art, some projects, and I also post posters to different things up here as we need them. And then over here we have Mia's side. Now when she was doing first grade and second grade, this was her side. And as she grows up, I have these little 3-shelf bookcases. That way they get into the rhythm of seeing that all their belongings are in one place. So as they continue to grow, this is going to become their space where they house all of their things. And we do have work boxes that we use right now. But as they get older, I expect them to use these more actively. So right now I have all of her stuff here. And over here I have kind of like a mini strewing station. I usually keep a book open here. Right now we're learning about the northern sky and the constellations. So I have that open whenever we read that. Then I just leave it up for them to peruse through once the lesson is done. And then I have this little light up solar system that I got on Amazon. And let's see if it turns on. It does. And they love coming over here and just seeing how the planets move around. And then this little sign, follow your dreams. I try to put some words of encouragement, not too much. If you notice, most of my walls are bare on purpose because we do have some attention issues, and I feel like it's just better for learning just to have a clean and open and airy space. So I try to keep it light and vibrant, but not too heavily decorated or with too many things up on the walls. And then over here I have her All About Reading Level 2. She just started this level. I have the word box, I have Ziggy, I have one of her readers, and this is Logic of English Level 2. And we kind of took a break from that, but I do see us dabbling into that in the coming months and maybe doing a combination of both. And these are some of the readers that they recommend for that. And over here I have Kitty's Doodle Homeschool Curriculum. This is by the Thinking Tree Publishing Company, and she has dabbled in that here and there, but we haven't exclusively done it. She mostly gets to this book whenever she's bored and she's down here. She'll pull it out and she'll do some things from there. So here we have the Real Science for Kids science curriculum that I mentioned in the video at the start of the year, and I'll link that up top. And we haven't actually delved into that curriculum at all because we found that the Build Your Library science curriculum has been complete, but I do have those sheets there in case we want to get into it in the summer. Here I have the language lessons for today, level 3, which she's going to be starting soon. Already there for her. And then this is level 2 that she's almost done with. Then I have the cursive sheets that she's using for this year. Right now we're on letter I. Here's her writing sheets, draw, then, and write. And then this is her Build Your Library worksheets. I also have the Story of the World level 2 medieval times in there too. And you can check those out more in depth if you want to in the video that I linked before. And I'll also link it at the bottom of the description. Now this bottom shelf, I house all of the curriculum that they're done with, or it's kind of like a record keeping area. And right now I only have My Father's World, her sheets from then, some of her My Father's World second grade, her Right Start Math sheets, which she did do level 1 or level A but she hasn't done level B, but I have them there just in case we do decide to go back to Right Start Math. It's there. And then this is the All About Reading big binder right now. We have level 1 in here because she just finished it, and I'm expecting this to house all the levels. I'm thinking that this might only hold about 2 to 3 levels, so we might need another binder. But this is like the record keeping shelf right now. And then we have a window, and this fabric I get asked all the time on Instagram where I got it from. This is from IKEA, and it's designed by Malin and Ackerblom from 2010. So what I did was I got the fabric at IKEA, and then I had a seamstress make the curtains for me. And I feel like they just bring so much vibrancy and so much of the nature and fun that I really wanted to bring to this space. Then over here we have our printer, and we have a Brother Wi-Fi printer. And it's also a copier. And I use this all the time, and I've actually had it not since we started homeschooling, but I want to say since maybe a year or two from when we started or anything. But here I have laminating sheets, I have printer paper and some cardstock, and then down here I have some extra supplies. So I have a hole punch, I have a paper cutter, and I have this little these little desk strips that we used to use and other things that I might need to use. And then over here we have our outlet. We have our Alexa that we constantly use whenever we have a question or if you want to listen to music. Each of the kids has their own playlist that they love to listen to down here. And then over here I have all of our ink. I would say ink is one of the top things that homeschool moms need. I have some tape that's easily accessible for my kids to use. And then I also have some bookmarks that we use a lot, and I also use random scraps of paper as well. And then up here we have Make Today the Day to Learn Something New. It's a poster that I got from the Dollar Tree. And then I have these floating lamps that I love. We've had for a really long time, and we got those at IKEA, and I love that they're off the ledge and they're off the floor. And then I have this little pinwheel that I got at the Dollar Tree, which I just like because it brightens up the room. And I have my little caddy over here that I got from the Dollar Tree as well. And then I have just certain things that I want to have on hand or that the kids might ask me for if they can't find there. So like a glue stick, pencil, Sharpie, extra dry erase, nail file, and so on. And then over here I have a little motivational quote that's more for me, just to keep me aligned and focused and intentional about my homeschool. And I got this from Becca in a free newsletter in the mail, and I just cut it out and I put it in a frame. And then this little cat is a little gift from my daughter, and it's a little notebook, mini notebook, and I just love it. It just reminds me of why I'm doing this, and it just keeps me encouraged, and it just fills up my heart every time that I look at it. And then over here we have another window, and it's a little larger than the other one, and sometimes we open this up and we have some bushes in the front. And then now I'm going to go back to the bookcases. Over here I have an alphabet. This was actually from my Father's World kindergarten, and I never used to display it during that time, but since we kind of redid the configuration of the schoolroom, I decided to put it up a year or two ago, and my kids love it. They do refer back to it often, even in 3rd and 4th grade, so I expect us to have that up there for a while. And then up here, we have the Logic of English phonogram little tidbits. So I have those up there. And then I have this dry erase board that is magnetic, and I got this at Walmart, and I had a YouTube viewer ask me where I got it. So I did get it at Walmart, and it was several years ago when we first started homeschooling, so I'm not sure if they even have this type available anymore. But I did want to give you a little tip about dry erase boards. When we first started homeschooling, I made the big mistake of using water to clean it. I highly recommend not doing that and purchasing the spray, or maybe just using a dry cloth to clean your board. So because it did lift a little bit, I mean it still is usable, so we do still have it because I don't want to have this end up in a landfill, but it is a little bumpy because I did make that mistake. So that's just a little thing that you might want to consider if you're just starting out using a dry erase board. And I love that it is big enough where we have some space up top. In kindergarten, we used to put badges up here. Right now, we just have these behavioral charts. And then I have this file folder that used to be where they would put their done sheets or work every day of the week. But now it's become where we store all of our construction paper. And I really like this more than what we used to use it for, and I'll actually show you moving forward what we used to put their finished work in. And then here I have dry erase markers. This is another item that we use often, and then I have some extra magnets over here. And then over here I have a dry erase eraser that I use. And then I have this little thing that I got from the Target dollar spot that they use whenever they're bored. They'll just come over here and kind of play around with it. So I just have it there. And then I have a time sheet that I got at the dollar store, and we've had this for several years. It doesn't fit in the bins below where we store all of our math manipulatives, so that's why I have that there. And then over here I have our logic of English manipulatives. These used to be sensory bins when they were teeny tiny, pre-K and kindergarten. And we still use sensory bins, but we use the ones that are in the art cart. And then I have a bucket because Logic of English calls for some bucket activities. And then under here I just have some things that we might get to, so I have those there. Then over here I have my Story of the World, my spelling teacher's manual, and my Build Your Library Level 2 teacher's manual. And I do refer to these often, and I love that it's right in the middle of the schoolroom, so it's easy for me to grab them. Then here I have our grammar, and if we're using some of the books from our Build Your Library for a certain day, I'll pull them and I'll put them on this shelf. That way it's easy for me to grab and go. And then down here we have 3 bins, and I used to use these for projects, storing project materials, but now they house our math manipulatives. So here I have everything related to time and money. I even have some workbooks in here and books. I have some games from Lakeshore Learning, from the Target dollar spot, from the Dollar Tree, and we're constantly referring back to those constantly throughout the years, so I just have them in one spot. Here we have addition, subtraction, anything related to numbers or place value. So I have the Unifix cubes that they used during 1st grade. These are some printables that I've printed out throughout the years, flashcards, some dice, let's see, some workbooks, addition, subtraction, the big book of math. I also have some geometry things in here. So anytime that I find something that's related to this, when I'm out shopping, I'll just toss it in here because these are skills that they just constantly need a refresher on. So if they find themselves needing some practice, they'll just go in here, they'll grab a workbook, or they'll grab manipulatives to help them doing their math work. And then over here I have multiplication, division, and fractions. So these little sheets I printed off from Teachers Pay Teachers, and it has all of the math facts. Then I have some flashcards, I have some games, and then here this is a multiplication grid, fractions, and a divisions workbook. So that's what that has. And then now moving on to the last bookcase. Up here we have our number beam. This is part of the Right Start math curriculum. And then over here I have the sheets, the blank sheets for our daily assignments. If you've been following me for a while, you've seen that we use those for our daily assignments and for all our subjects, and that's where I house the ones that are completed. Let me just show you really quickly. This is what the ones that are completed look like, and that's where I keep them. Over here I had CDs, presidents. Oh, look at that. We have a pair of headphones. You know what? I will move that now to our desk area. I have to purchase those. They were hiding up here this whole time. Then I have a change jar, some real money, some fake money, real coins. We're constantly using this. And then this is just a repurposed spaghetti jar. And then back here I have some flashcards for all about spelling. Then this is our radio. It does work as a radio, and it's also a CD player. Right now we're using this for poetry, so we do use this often. So I really like this one. I do have to pull it out a little bit so that the The top goes all the way up. Over here, I have Spanish. And if you saw my last video where I went over how we teach Spanish, this is where I have those things. Well, at least the ones that I'm using for this year. Anything that I'm not using, I keep away in a crawl space closet, because I do want to keep the space clean, organized, and as minimal as possible. Then over here we have our Build Your Library curriculum books, and I did do a video going over all of these, so I'm not going to go in depth into what's in here. But just to give you a general overview, here we have some read alouds. Here we have our science books. Here we have some other things like easy peasy, writing, some things that I just grab and go whenever I need them. We have our encyclopedias, our dictionary, some spine books. These are our circumference books, our literature read alouds for this year. Then down here I have all of our Right Start math stuff. So my kids have done levels 1 and 2, and I expect us to maybe at some point pick up level C, which is their 3rd level. But I do have all of their manipulatives because they're really fun. And I just realized I didn't show you my supply shelves. This little metal shelving unit I got from IKEA, and it does have a space where you can put a label. I've left it blank throughout the years, and here I house all of our supplies, and a lot of these I've had since the beginning of homeschooling. To look through, I actually just organized it, so it usually doesn't look this good, but about twice a year, about the beginning of the year and towards the end of the year, I like to organize it and just tidy it up. So right now I have a tray that I got from the Dollar Tree. I have a chalk marker, I have a USB drive, a flashlight, I have some, let's see, I have some thumbtacks, clear thumbtacks, which is my favorite to use, some metal binder clips, which I always use, some staplers, some staples, I have a hole punch, a staple remover, some paper clips, some little timers that I got from the Dollar Tree. I have a date stamper, and then in the next one I have just pencils. And in about 3 to 4 months I usually go in here and I sharpen all of them. I replace any of the erasers on top, and this really helps the flow of our homeschool room. And I used to have other things in this drawer, but I found that pencils is like one of those items that are always on demand and in need. So it just makes it easier for my kids to just have it in one drawer. And they have extra eraser tops here. And then they have glue sticks in the back. That's another item that's just always in high demand and lost. They're always lost. Then in the next one, I have pens. These pens, oh my God, guys. I've had them since the beginning of homeschooling. I don't really use a lot of pens. And then I also have some, let's see, some whiteout. I have a lot of highlighters, which I also don't tend to rotate through too much. I have some magnetic erasers. I have some planner pens that I used to use, Sharpies, more pens, and dry erase markers. These I use so much. I tend to rotate through a lot. And then over here I have more clear thumbtacks, some colored ones, these little magnetic little fasteners that the kids use to make books or to create clocks or little puppets. Then I have some tape, which I'm kind of low on, some of the replacement ones. That's where I keep the tape. I have an extra crayon box, some extra rulers for when friends come over, some index cards in the back, some bowl clips. These are really important, especially towards the end of the year or when I'm planning or printing things off. Then in the next one, I have labels. These labels, these round labels, I used to use for games and activities, so numbers or the alphabet or words. I have some gold stars, some pricing things for when we do yard sales or we do stores, little mini play stores. I have some labels, some binder labels, some big labels for bins. And then here I have some post-it notes, some mini ones regular size ones. And these I tend to keep even if there's a small amount left. I'm a big believer in waste not, want not. So I do keep those and I try to economize in that way. So I've had these for several years and I do use them here and there. I'm not really a big list maker in terms of using post-it notes, but I have used these for games and activities or just for quick note taking if I need to remember something. And then here I have some clear tape and some color tape. And this is a great thing to have on hand because you can use this for projects and you can also use it for laminating, guys. So if you run out of laminating paper, just put some tape over it and it does the same thing. And then here I have some Velcro circles. I used to use these a lot. I only have a few now, but I used to use those. I have some magnetic circles and strips that I used to use a lot. Not so much lately. I have some reusable hooks for hanging things. I have a magnifying glass, some clips for the clothesline that you saw in the beginning. And then in the back, some Velcro strips. And then these little labels are for the manipulative boxes that you guys saw by the bookcases. And then over here, I have this box. My daughter's used everything in here, but I use this as a divider, as a makeshift divider for the kids. So that's what that's for. Over here on top of my drawers, I have a laminator that I always have out, and then I usually place it right on top of here and do all my laminating. Then I have a BED for letter reversal since Mia is facing this way. That way she has that as a visual reference. And then I also have an at-a-glance planner. I used to use these actively in my homeschool. I used to write in everything that we did, and this is an hourly planner. So I used to use this all the time, but I find myself using it a little less because it's just become a little bit tedious with the fast movement in our homeschool. But who knows? I might come back to it, but I just like having it. That way I can see what our months and our weeks look like. And then I usually keep a running list of things that I need. That's what I use the top for. So this is the main area of the room. We have this long IKEA table that we use for both of us, and I also pull over the chair from the desk area and I sit right over here, and it really works really well. In previous years we've had separate small desks on each side of the room, but this year, because we're doing Build Your Library as our main curriculum and we're doing a lot of subjects together, this setup is working really well. And then we use that little divider right through the middle whenever we're doing a spelling test and so on. So this desk, you can actually switch out these legs. There's different styles, and I really liked these silver ones, so we stuck with those. And then I have a wastebasket that I also got at IKEA right underneath. Then these chairs we got at IKEA when we first started homeschooling, and I love the green color because it reminded me of nature and growth. And then right in the middle we have our All About Reading progress charts. Mia's doing level 2, and that's the frog, and then Elias is doing level 3. And then over here we have these work boxes that I got at Aldi on sale, and they do tend to bring them once in a while. They have clear options and they have this fun rainbow color option, and I really loved this one because it went with the curtains so well. And then up top we have a file box that's made out of cardboard that I got at IKEA. It brings about 10 per pack. And then they put their finished work up top whenever they're done with it. And then I have this little caddy that I got at the Target dollar spot. And in it we have some junior size scissors, a multi-ink pen, crayons, a ruler, a fun star shaped highlighter that we got at a homeschool convention one year, a fidget, and a little smiley face pen. And then over here we have a clipboard with their assignments, and they have a few weeks worth of it here, and they like to choose a different color for each week. Here we have some erase board that they use for writing. They dictate whatever they want to say, and I'll write it out here. And they also use this to do their math. And it is also magnetic. Okay. And now I'm going to show you what's inside all of the work boxes. We do literature upstairs, so that's not here. Then we have our Soaring with Spelling. We have our copy work and our cursive here. Then we have history and science, writing, vocabulary and grammar. This is reading, math, and if we're working on a workbook, that tends to be in the back. So right now Elias has a multiplication book, and then these are empty, and I expect to fill these up with Spanish, and sometimes we have art things in here too. And then in the bottom, he has sticker sheets. Stickers are still very popular in our homeschool.
Hello.
Hi. And Mia is working on revamping her pony. And then over here, this is Mia's side, and she has another she has the same kind of caddy, and inside she has highlighters, a fidget, a ruler, junior sized scissors, pens, and crayons. And then this is her assignment clipboard, and this is her dry erase board. And then she puts her completed work over here. And then let me just show you really quickly her work boxes. She has spelling, copy work, cursive, and the same order pretty much. She's doing 3rd grade vocabulary. And stickers. And then I also want to show you our timeline. So we've been at, we started doing a timeline back in 1st grade, and we added on to it through 2nd grade, and now in 3rd grade we also have, or in Build Your Library rather, we also have timeline pieces. We haven't been adding those, but I do have some extra strips that I printed off and laminated, so I will be adding to that, and I expect the timeline to wrap around the room. So we really love having a timeline. It really helps to show the progression of history. So I highly recommend having one if you have the wall space, or you can also use a cardboard sort of setup. And then back over here on the other side of the window, we have a cursive alphabet that I've also added some of the Spanish letters to, and the other side is manuscript, and we've had this for years, and now I have it on the cursive side because we are doing cursive this year. Then we have an outlet, and I have my camera charger, I have an emergency flashlight, and then on this corner I usually have an essential oil diffuser, or I have a candle. Because it is winter, I like having the candle so we can have a little bit of warmth in this room. And then over here we have another floating lamp, and then I have a flag that I got at the Dollar Tree, and behind it I have the Pledge of Allegiance, and we do usually tend to recite that around 4th of July, and every once in a while. We don't do it every day. Here we have our All About Reading magnetic board and the tiles that come with it, starting in the 1st level, and it's in alphabetical order. And then we have some of the other phonograms, and we use this often, about 2 to 3 times a week, so that's where that is. And then over here we have a United States map that I got at the Dollar Tree, and here are some of the maps that they did for my Father's World 2nd grade. Little north, south, east, west print is from the Dollar Tree. And then over here we have a crawl space, and I have another of those clips from the Land of Nod that I use for different things. So right now we have the Many Jobs of Silent E, and since my son is sitting on this end and facing this direction, that's why that's there. And then over here I have some things that I don't use. So for instance, like this gallon measurement and other things that I pull out as I need it. And I also have old curriculum in here and all kinds of things that I just don't want to have in the schoolroom cluttering up space. So right now I'm using water bottle boxes to store those. Then over here I have another 3-shelf bookcase that belongs to my son. He has his All About Reading Level 3, his box, his readers, his own Ziggy. And Ziggy's propped up with a water bottle. That's how Ziggy stays up. And then he has Logic of English Level 3 here. And right below we have some fun schooling with Minecraft that he uses every once in a while. And then he has his science, his astronomy science that Mia also has. And then he has level 4 of lessons for a living education that he's going to be starting soon. And he's still in level 3, and I expect Mia to finish before he is going to, but we're kind of going through it as we go, no rush. And then we have Draw Then Write, and he has a book in there that's by Evan Moore that he's working through. He also has cursive. And then this is his Build Your Library binder. Then down here he has some record keeping things. He has his My Father's World first grade curriculum, his second grade sheets, Foundations B, his Right Start Math B worksheets that he finished, and then he also has an All About Reading binder with his completed level 2, and we're planning to do the same thing for him. And then up here right now I have level 1 of All About Reading. I'm going to be doing a video sometime in the coming week, so you can check that out. And I'm also going to have this curriculum for sale up in my eBay store. So I'm getting ready to shoot that video at some point, so that's why it's up here. And I usually have this shelf empty, so if the kids want to display their artwork, any 3D creations, that's where they usually put it. And so that is our homeschool room. I hope you enjoyed this week's tour. If you haven't subscribed yet, please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Please leave me a comment below and let me know what you're struggling most with your homeschool room. I hope that maybe I can give you a tip or two. And if you know somebody that's getting ready to homeschool or is thinking about transforming a space or doing a homeschool room makeover, please share this video with them. I hope it helps them. And if you haven't followed me yet over on Instagram, please do. I share tips, I share motivational advice, and I just show behind the scenes snippets of our everyday life, hoping to inspire and encourage you. So I hope you're having an amazing day, and I will see you soon. Bye.